Hola, amigos, and welcome to the last show on Televida. You know, I love having comics on the show, but most of the comics are really old, like me, that remember 8-track tapes and drive-in movies. So it's always great to get a young comic in for a change, actually. An edgy comic. How you like that, Guillermo? We're going to have some edgy comics here. That's just not my words. That's the Kansas City Star saying she is one of the most edgy comics in Kansas City. It's our honor to have Monisha Williams on the last show tonight. You want to see her act? Check this out. We'll be right back.
Everybody, give a round of applause to all the comics you sing tonight. Keep that going for yourselves and support live comedy, man. I'm happy to be here, and if you guys are looking at me, I know exactly what you're thinking. You're like, wow, that is one handsome young man. But I can't take the credit for that. I've spent a lot of time in the closet as a child. You didn't get that joke? That just means I'm like Black Ellen. With a lot less dancing, because comedy don't come with health insurance. So actually, I'm like Ellen in Flavor Flav face. You know?
Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's
You know,
an honor.
I've seen you around the comedy scene forever, and then I just like, my God, why don't I have her on the show? Because you're ubiquitous at the comedy club. You're always there. How did that happen? When did you start at the comedy club in Kansas City?
I think I was there week one of the very first open mic. I think the very first open mic they had, I was hooked to the place.
Now, is that where you started?
It's not. It's not where I started. I started at the Uptown Arts Bar.
So let's go back to that. Let's go back. You started at the Uptown Arts Bar, which is right across from the Uptown Theater.
Yes.
That's where Dustin had his cough drop show.
Yeah, I don't remember the cough drop.
That's because you're so young. We've already established this, lady. You're young. But
I hear great things.
Yeah. So that's where you got started.
Yes.
All right. So tell me, do you remember the first time you went on stage? Give us some perspective here.
I do. It was 9 years ago. I walked into the Uptown Arts Bar just to check out an open mic because I was going to do music the next night, just to check out the environment.
So comedy wasn't your intention?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Just wanted to check it out. I didn't even know stand-up comedy was something you could do professionally. I didn't. Well, you know, I grew up in a religious household, so my mom didn't let us watch that. So I didn't know it was something you could do professionally. So I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I'll go check it out. And I sat there for a while, and I was like, man, where the list at? And it was like back there, and I was like...
You know, that's a common thing. That's even when I got started with, like, these folks aren't that funny.
I wouldn't say
I
that.
can do just as bad as they can. No, what did you say?
I was kind of thinking that. I was like... I could do just as I could do this.
Yeah, I
think
could do
this.
this. These guys aren't rocket scientists, right? They're like that, right? So
I'm like, oh, this ain't nothing like TV.
Yeah. So then you did it. You got that first laugh. Hooked.
Yeah, that was it.
Hooked.
That's definitely it.
Yeah. How did you reconcile that with the religious part of your family?
I still have not.
Surprise, mom and dad, right?
It's very, no, my parents are, they're very supportive. However, they're supportive from a distance. They're like, we love what you do, just not the language you use.
Language is the spice you use in your comedy, George Carlin, right? You have to do what you got to do, right?
It is definitely that.
So, and I think this because you actually work at the Comedy Club of Kansas City. I have this theory about this because Sam Kinison actually worked at the Comedy Store. Mark Maron. A lot of these best comedians, they worked at the Comedy Club because you're there all the time. How is that different that you get the chance to see everything, and how does that help you?
I think for me, it's therapeutic. I like to be surrounded by comedy even when I'm not doing comedy. Because I enjoy watching different styles of comedy. I want to see what makes that comic that comic. I want to kind of like...
Everyone has a different direction how they
timing.
get to the laugh, right?
Yeah.
Everyone does, right?
Yeah, and I'm always trying to figure out how they did it or, you know, just playing with it in my mind.
All right, so what comic blew your socks off the most since you've been at the Comedy Club of Kansas City? I know they're all your kids and you love them all the same, but I'm going to ask you.
Oh, we mean Young Guns. I thought you just
No, I'm
meant
not talking
comedians.
about young. Well, let's start with famous, then we'll go to Young Guns.
Okay, my favorite comedian to come through the Comedy Club of Kansas City, I'm going to give you two. Eleanor Kerrigan and Carmen Morales are two of my favorites.
And Carmen Morales.
Yeah, are two of my favorites to come to
Okay.
the Comedy Club. And Ryan Funches, I'm a huge fan, and I got a chance to work with him also. So that was amazing.
I don't like him because he lost all that weight. As a fellow fat black comedian, the fact that he lost the weight and has fun, because there's fat round Funches on TV, early fat round Funches, and then he says, well, this is good, and just kind of got skinny. He's got discipline. But he's very funny too, though. I have to admit. All right. So those are your three big ones right there. Who are the young guns? When we say young guns, we mean people who are still working all the time locally, who you can see not only at the Comedy Club of Kansas City, but the various one-nighters around town.
So my favorite young gun right now is Brock Bristow.
Okay.
He keeps me on my toes.
I like him.
As you can see, I had to dress up.
You got your game on, girl.
Because when you go with Brock is going to, not only provide the flair with the outfits, but he has the comedic style and the writing style to back it up.
The
really
night
good.
I worked there, he was opening up, and he was dressed to the nines.
Yes.
He was dressed to the nines.
He does not play about his suits. He has so many. He's a snazzy man and a very intelligent comedian.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Right now, we're going to show another clip of you, and we'll be right back on The Last Show.
Man, I've known this from a young age. My dad is a stern man who never liked to repeat himself. If he had to repeat himself a second time, it would come with an action. I remember when I found out I was riding in the car with my dad, and a police officer was behind him. He knew this, but I didn't. So my dad looked at me and he said, fake an asthma attack. And I looked up and I was like, huh? He didn't repeat himself, he just hit me in the throat. The cops turned his light on, pulled my dad up, and like, excuse me, sir, I noticed you were speeding. Why were you speeding? My dad goes, because my daughter's having an asthma attack. And I'm trying to tell the cop, this is your suspect. This is the killer. You don't need to look for nobody else. Open and shut.
Very funny stuff.
Thank you.
No wonder your parents don't want to see you. What are you doing, lady? I'm kidding. First of all, home life, married, child?
Yes, I have 4 children and I am married.
Okay. All right. How old? My 4... Damn. I had 3 and they just wore me out. Wore me out. What ages?
Oh, so we got 9, 6, 3, and 1.
See, those are the wear out ages. Those are the what?
No, not really. They keep me young enough to chase them right now.
That's the key. You got to chase them. Because, I'm 60, and when my 30-year-old gets in the house and he does something, I have to let him go.
See, yeah.
I just have to let him move on.
I'm young enough to chase them now. So
it's like a Karen when she gets pulled over, and I'm a cop. I got to let her go on. I can't stop you. I'm going to have to let you roll on. All right. 4 kids. Maybe that's appropriate that you have 4 kids because you actually had, I saw this on a social media post, you had 9 characters you performed as a comedian or as a musician?
As a comedian.
9 characters.
9 characters.
Well, is this a character I'm speaking to now? Am I speaking to the real Monisha?
I am always in character. It is.
I don't know. I'm getting gypped here. I'm not getting the real you. I'm not plumbing the depths. Hold on.
No. It's kind of why people encouraged me to switch my stage name to my original name because they were just like, I could tell you're always playing a character, and until you step away from
now
that,
you got me. Well, am I interviewing your stage name or your original name?
My original name,
Okay,
my
gotcha.
birth name.
All right, so let's go over these 9 because it reminded me when I saw that. Whoopi Goldberg used to do a lot of characters initially, actually when she was there. And so tell me about some of your 9. Well, first of all, tell me where you introduced these 9 characters. And I have so many questions. Did one character do the whole set? Did you switch midway through the set, or how does that work?
So the first time I did the 9 characters all in one night, I emceed a show.
That's the time to do it.
I emceed a show, and in between each act, I would go into the restroom, change characters, and come back out. Do 3 minutes, bring the next comedian up.
Now did the audience know? The audience knew, of course, right?
After a while, yes, they start to notice. But I have a character, Granny B, who I did for 3 years before people started to realize I was Granny.
Granny B.
Yeah.
You're pretending to be old. How dare you? I am old. How dare you? Those of us in the old ass community. No, I'm just kidding.
Ironically, that is the one character my mom loves, and my mom comes to all Granny B shows. So.
Oh, she does. So you did the entire show as Granny B.
Yeah, I do. I do a yearly show called Granny B's Many Men, and I'll
When?
do it. So I like to do it at the beginning of the year, or close to Mother's Day.
So that'll be coming up either in January
Or Mother's
at
Day
the Comedy Club at Center, or Mother's Day.
Yes.
I won't have to put it down. Now, all right. So when everybody says this, everybody's thinking that's watching this. How close is this to Medea?
Not close at all. So my best friend's grandmother is Granny B. She was my Granny B, and when she passed away, we were just
She had Granny B-isms.
Yeah, like we were devastated, and I was just out there, and I wanted to do something different. So I sat out there with a few friends from the neighborhood, and we created Granny B.
And basically, it's the mannerism. It's not just the voice. It's the whole thing, right?
Yeah, it's the whole embodiment of her. It's amazing.
I'm very intrigued about that. Who are some of the other characters?
So Ranger Ricky is another character I created.
Hold on, Ranger Ricky?
Yes.
I like these. You know, when I see Ranger Ricky, I'm thinking Fire Marshal Bill. I don't know. Tell me about Ranger Ricky.
It's kind of similar, except for like I lived in a neighborhood where we always like to make fun. It would always be people hanging out on the corner, so I used to come out with the water gun and spray them and get them off the corner, call them hood rats, and I was Ranger Ricky, the hood rat hunter. And I would just chase people out of my neighborhood with the water guns. I would just walk out of a building.
Hood rat hunter.
Yeah, I used to just walk out of my apartment building as a different character, and people go, "Man, well, we got to do this again this week." I'm like, "Man, we just have." It just became a thing for my neighborhood.
We have two good characters so far. I don't know if these are the top two, but I got to hear at least two more.
Bala is my personal favorite. He is a safari hunter.
Bala.
He's an African safari hunter.
Now I'm thinking Brian Thellows, Tracy Murray. See, you doesn't even come in your head, but I'm so old. I'm thinking about characters that are very old. But tell me about that person.
So I kind of created him because I would always think of terrible people leading terrible people through terrible things, and how we will, as long as somebody has a title, we will follow them.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
Even if they have no idea what
I
they're
remember
doing.
when I was in school, there was a patrol boy, right? And he would tell me to go out in the street. It's like, well, wait, he's in the 5th grade. I'm in the 4th. What more has he attained to tell me this truck's going any faster and slower other than an orange belt and a dollar store badge? Yet he told me to come out. He tells me to stop. Mm-hmm. I just do it all the time.
You just do what somebody says because they have a badge and the title. So
yeah. Sometimes the badge, the title, and the gun you should do. When that extra piece adds in there. And one more.
So Ratchet Keisha came about.
Ratchet
Keisha came about because I love what they do with reality shows. Mm-hmm. I just feel like they don't go far enough. Mm-hmm. I tell people, like, I like these reality shows, but like, if you're gonna give me a reality show and call it Ratchet, go a step further. Give me the real EBT Housewives of Child Like, I wanna see.
That's true. There is no comedy in a bunch of rich people doing stuff.
There's not.
No, you're right. The EBT,
this man running off with the EBT card and spending it on his mistress and her kids. Now
that's some real drama.
That's real drama I can get behind.
I think about that because how much drama is there when you're in $1 million house? Like, how much drama is there really going on?
You're really creating a lot of
real world. You steal somebody's EBT card.
Oh, it is.
They're not eating mac and cheese for a week, right?
It's real drama.
There's no milk in the house. It's Captain Crunch and Water. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody thought of that. You should trademark that. That'll be your next thing and get the all the characters going. That is, I never thought about that. And you actually perform all these characters and their own little shows.
Yes,
now,
I
that
do
takes
them
a
all
world
on,
of talent.
Yeah,
to
I do them all
actually.
on stage.
Because there's another way to do that. Another way to do that would be how Pryor would do it, and then he would kind of roll in the Mudbone and do all the other stuff. But I mean, you could actually separate those two, I guess. Now that I think about it. So tell me about the shows you got coming up.
So I'm hosting at the Comedy Club of Kansas City soon, October 13th through the 15th. Then I'm going to be doing Truth in Comedy November 11th and 12th.
Where at?
Leavenworth, Missouri. Leavenworth, Kansas, and then on the Missouri side, I don't quite.
So you've done a lot of traveling. Tell me about some of the places you traveled to do comedy.
So we just got back from Chicago. We did a 10-day trip in Chicago. A few of my friends, and we got a chance to visit their scene. We did Memphis. We did.
Good.
See,
that's what I used to do. I mean, back then in my day, there was Kansas City would go to St. Louis and Minneapolis. Not so much Chicago. That kind of scared us. But Denver was another place. But that's what you got to do. You got to come out and see what the other turf's like, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that shows you. You're not gonna get better by just staying in the same place.
Oh no, man! You definitely got to travel a little bit.
You definitely got to travel. Any advice for people starting to get into comedy that you have? Because you see all the open mics. Tell me what can you impart if somebody's watching out there and thinks they could take the jump like you. What would they do?
I would say record everything. You will never have to ask anybody how you've done, because recording will never lie to you.
Okay. Well, I hope this recording won't lie to us either. Monacia Williams, thank you for being on the last show. We're going to end this with the last clip. Monacia Williams on the last show from me and Guillermo. Thank you so much. Adios.
I love my kids, I do. I just want to say that they do not make me as happy as I thought they would. Anybody else got that problem? I realized that I had to homeschool my babies. And let me tell you something. There's nothing like homeschooling your babies to humble you that your baby is not as smart as you thought you were. Nothing at all. I'm at home, my oldest come down the stairs happy, like, hey, got this test coming up. If I pass it, I get to graduate early. I'm like, cool, what can I do to get you out of my house? I mean, help further your education. What can I do to help you? She's like, well, here's a paper. If you give me the questions, I'll give you the answers. I'm like, sounds simple enough. I looked at the paper, looked at the first question, what are the 3 branches of government? Is what I asked her. She said, you're so stupid. The government don't grow on trees. So I'm going to see your phone. I'm going to call the school district. A child was left behind. It only takes that. So where do you think they left you? 6th grade? No, this ain't your year to graduate. Listen here. Put all the college applications down. Here's one for Burger King. It's the only way you ever going to have it your way. I'm Monacia Williams. I have a good night.